Hello, and welcome to Intelligent Pod, the show where curiosity meets clarity, and we explore the remarkable intelligence woven through our world. I'm your host, Sophie Lane, and today we're heading into the heart of nature, deep into the hidden networks of the forest, to unravel a story that's as fascinating as it is humbling. Our topic today: intelligence of forests, uncovering the wood wide web. If you've ever walked through a forest and felt something unique in the air, a sense of interconnectedness, a quiet energy, you might have stumbled upon one of nature's most profound secrets. Today, we'll explore how forests aren't just random collections of trees, but vibrant, communicating communities. We'll examine the science behind the so-called wood wide web, look at the psychological and cultural implications of plant intelligence, share some real-life stories, and, of course, I'll leave you with practical ideas for how you can connect more deeply with the natural world around you. So, lace up your mental hiking boots. Let's set off. Let's start with a simple question. What do you picture when you think of a forest? For most of us, it's a serene place, maybe a little mysterious, filled with towering trunks, rustling leaves, and dappled sunlight. But what if I told you that beneath your feet, there's a hidden network, one that allows trees to talk to each other, share resources, warn of danger, and even nurture their young? This isn't science fiction. It's science fact. Over the past few decades, researchers have uncovered something extraordinary. Forests are connected by vast underground fungal networks, sometimes called mycorrhizal networks. These networks link the roots of trees and plants, creating a kind of biological internet, which a clever scientist nicknamed the wood wide web. Here's a statistic that might surprise you. Scientists estimate that a single teaspoon of forest soil can contain several miles of fungal threads, or hyphae. Just let that sink in. A teaspoon. And these threads aren't just passive tubes. They form symbiotic relationships with trees, trading nutrients and information. In essence, this network is responsible for the health and resilience of entire forests. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a young sapling struggling in the shade of older, taller trees. On its own, it might not make it, but through the wood wide web, the larger trees can send nutrients, like carbon and nitrogen, to the sapling, giving it a much-needed boost. Or, consider a scenario where a tree is attacked by pests. It can release chemical signals through its roots and the fungal network, warning neighboring trees to ramp up their defenses. It sounds almost like a fantasy, doesn't it? But it's real, and it challenges some of our deepest assumptions about intelligence and communication. Let's dive into some different perspectives on this phenomenon. First, the scientific angle. The discovery of the wood wide web owes a huge debt to Dr. Suzanne Simard, a Canadian forest ecologist. In the 1990s, she conducted a series of ingenious experiments using radioactive carbon isotopes. Don't worry, totally safe in the context of the research. She traced the movement of carbon between trees and found that not only do trees share resources, but they seem to do so in a way that benefits the whole community. Older mother trees often send more nutrients to their own offspring, a kind of parental care in plant form. Simard's work has been published in major journals, and her TED Talk has reached millions. But she's not alone. Ecologists around the world have found similar patterns in forests from North America to Europe to the Amazon. It's not just trees either. Many types of plants, from wildflowers to shrubs, are part of these underground conversations. Now, let's look at the psychological perspective. Why does the idea of intelligent forests capture our imagination so powerfully? Part of it is because it challenges the old idea that intelligence is a uniquely human trait, or even that it's limited to animals with brains. When we see plants cooperating, warning each other, or nurturing their young, it forces us to reconsider what intelligence really means. A 2021 study published in the journal Trends in Plant Science argued that plants exhibit many behaviors we associate with intelligence: learning from experience, adapting to challenges, and even making decisions. While plants don't have brains, they process information and respond to their environment in surprisingly sophisticated ways. It's a humbling reminder that intelligence comes in many forms, and that we might have a lot to learn from the natural world. Culturally, the idea of the wood wide web resonates with ancient wisdom. Many indigenous cultures have long recognized the interconnectedness of all living things. For example, the concept of mother trees echoes the teachings of First Nations peoples in North America, who see certain trees as elders and caretakers of the forest. In Japanese culture, the practice of forest bathing, or Shinrin-yoku, is based on the idea that being among trees nurtures our health and spirit, a concept now supported by science, as exposure to forests has been linked to lower stress, improved mood, and even stronger immune systems. Let me share a real-life anecdote that brings this all together. In Germany, forester and author Peter Wohlleben describes a moment when he noticed an old stump in the forest, long since cut down, with no leaves, seemingly dead. Yet, when he scratched the bark, he found green tissue underneath. The stump was still alive, kept alive by neighboring trees through the wood wide web. They were sending it sugars and water, sustaining a member of their community who could no longer photosynthesize on its own. For Wohlleben, and for many who hear this story, it's a powerful metaphor for community and care, not just in forests, but in our own lives. So what can we do with all this knowledge? How can we apply the intelligence of forests to our daily lives? First, we can practice observation and mindfulness. The next time you're outdoors, pause and really look at the trees around you. Notice the diversity, the patterns, the relationships. This simple act can deepen your connection to nature and reduce stress. Second, we can support healthy ecosystems. Whether you have a garden, a window box, or just a patch of grass nearby, planting native species and avoiding chemicals helps support underground networks, not just for beauty, but for resilience and biodiversity. Third, let's take inspiration from the lessons of the wood wide web. Cooperation, communication, and mutual support. In our fast-paced, often competitive world, it's easy to forget that we thrive when we help each other. Just as trees share resources and warnings, we can look out for those around us: family, friends, colleagues, even strangers. Community is a form of intelligence too. And finally, advocate for forests. Healthy forests are vital for clean air, carbon storage, biodiversity, and our own well-being. Support conservation efforts. Learn about local forests and share what you've learned today. The more connected we feel to forests, the more likely we are to protect them. Let's recap. Today, we explored the hidden intelligence of forests. From the scientific marvel of the wood wide web to the cultural wisdom that reminds us of our own interconnectedness, we learned how trees and plants communicate, cooperate, and care for one another, and how these lessons can inspire us to build stronger, more supportive communities in our own lives. I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you walk through a forest, remember that you're not just surrounded by trees. You're part of a living, breathing network, a silent conversation that's been going on for millions of years. If we listen closely, maybe we'll learn to live a little more like the forest, connected, generous, and wise. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave a review. It helps other curious minds find Intelligent Pod. You can find show notes, references, and more at intelligentpod.com. And I'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, or stories. Just email me at sophie@intelligentpod.com. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and remember, intelligence takes many forms. Take care, everyone.